Hey everybody, it is FANzine Live. This is the classic zine edition, and tonight we have Rocket Comics presents Orbit #1, the premiere issue from Jim Pack, who did a nice self-portrait. Jim Pack is a gentleman who used to live in Southwest Ohio. Really fantastic gentleman. He's since passed, but he was part of the United Fanzine organization and was a really critical member. He just was. I have so many good things to say about Jim, not the least of which is he was a heck of an artist and a really good storyteller. And so it's my honor and pleasure to be able to share with you Orbit #1. He also did some other stuff. He did the comic book newsletter, which was yet another news/review type zine. I loved getting into that. That was one of my favorites because he really did some nice little interview article type things. But Jim just was great. Rocket Comics it's a legendary name. This book, 1987. So, yeah, really cool. So let's get started with it. We're going to present Sergeant Starr in Dead is a 4-letter word. Remember, 1987. This is commercially generated and pasted down. You've got Zipatone rather than digital. So your reproduction probably isn't quite on point, and you can see why it's a little muddy. But everything else, this looks to be professionally typeset, as does this. Wouldn't surprise me if they use the rub-on lettering as opposed to, doing like a label maker or something like that. But really, most of this that you're going to be seeing is hand done. So, I mean, that's hand lettering. This is hand lettering. Jim was good. Hi, I'm Jim Pack. I'd like to welcome you to Orbit, the science fiction and adventure comic that doesn't take anything seriously. Dan Evans, an artist friend of mine, took over and did the pencils for the last 6 or 7 pages. If it wasn't for him, Orbit 1 would still be on the drawing board. I hope you like what finally happened. And thanks for buying Orbit #1. This book was $1.50 postage paid. Amazing. And we're talking about what appears to be 20 pages interior, 24 pages of material. Done photocopy, flipped over, digest size. So we're looking at 5.5 by 8.5 for $1.50 postage paid. Those were the days. Dead is a 4-letter word. Our story begins under the streets of Washington, D.C., where the secret organization called Starr has its headquarters. Welcome to Starr, Sergeant Miles. You will find us different than the CIA, but there are enough similarities that you'll learn the ropes in no time. I've never heard of an organization named Starr. What does it all mean? Now, again, remember, this is Jim's work, so you can see he's already got some nice stuff going with backgrounds. He's got nice stuff going with perspective and shading. His character work looks good. His cartooning is good. He even does some nice likeness reproductions of famous spots. Select team for attack, rescue, and reconnaissance. So we're so secret, the president doesn't even know we exist. Who gives the orders if not the president? I do, Sergeant Miles. Agency Chief Margaret Freeze at your service. Please come in. I've seen you've already met Cell Chief Lieutenant Ben Fargon. You will meet other agents as you need to. The structure and personnel are classified and top secret. Do not ask questions about it. That is not why you're here. He does a nice looking woman. He has good cartooning there. Again, nice looking work. Jim was a talent. You're here from the CIA for one reason. Yes, we've got to stop Dr. Zero, and you're supposed to be the best man for the job. Moi? Your file says you're an expert at every weapon there is, and most of all, you've met Doc Zero before. Well, we're somewhat acquainted. Here, I'll open it up and we'll just leave it flat. Acquainted? Wasn't it you who destroyed his lab in Tibet with a comb and a piece of tissue? And what about his underwater hideout you just demolished with a screwdriver? Just acquainted? Excuse me. Dr. Zero had a round of bad luck. That's all well and good, but we had you transferred to make sure that bad luck continues. Lieutenant Fargon, take Sergeant Miles to the ordnance room and let him have anything he needs. Yes, ma'am. And Lieutenant, come back here when you're done. I have a problem I need your help with. Later, outside the Starr Armory. Good God, man. Do you ever think you have everything you need? No. Do you have a couple H-bombs? H-bombs? Yeah, just to get old Doc Zero's attention. Perhaps before we give you everything you need, your backup should be introduced. Agent Ann Moore meets Sergeant Miles on loan from the CIA. Hi. Backup? He's throwing it all into a hefty trash bag. Look at all that weaponry. A chick? I don't need a chick as my backup. Remember, guys, it's 1987. Please don't take offense. Oh boy, I wish you hadn't said that. Chick? Listen, sexist pig, I don't go cluck cluck, and I don't appreciate it. See, even she didn't like it back then. When, people think, I do. Smack. Okay, kids, I see you two are going to get along just fine. Yeah, if she doesn't kill me first. Do you have any more surprises for me? As a matter of fact, we do. All of our agents wear this special suit. It lets our enemies know who they're up against. Put it on and we'll go over to control to arrange your transportation. Things get curiouser and curiouser. Later in the Starr event control room, 2 AIV-22s is all I've got. 2 AIV-22s? That doesn't seem enough for old Doc Zero, but it'll have to do. Hey, Control, here's that Ruz book. Where the hell is Ruz number 2? Look at that. He's got all the characters. He's got some tech. He's got nice little shading, a little bit of gleam on the metal there. I mean, and I like how you really don't have much in the way of background in anything on these 2 pages other than this panel when he needs to set up the Starr event control room. He also does some nice stuff there with shading, does some stuff here with action lines, a little Kirby-ish crackle, some good stuff. What the heck is an AIV-22? Agent Incursion Vehicle. There's one on the deck now. Why can't we just bomb Zero from the air? That wouldn't be advisable. Doc Zero stole 7 H-bombs and is threatening the world from his Antarctic base. Check. We'll be back for lunch, right, Miles? Yes, sirree, ma'am. Anything you say, ma'am. Hours later, off the coast of Tierra del Fuego. One more thing bothers me, Agent Moore, and that is, why did they pick me? Because you're supposed to be able to do the job. No, there's something more to it. Paranoid, typical paranoid male. Heads up. Antarctica ahead. Prepare to convert. Huh? Why do I feel I'm in the middle of a poorly animated Japanese cartoon? Back in the days of Battle of the Planets and the like. Pretty nifty, huh? I bet you don't have anything like this in the CIA. No, can't say as we do. Then again, we don't run around in silly skin-tight suits either. Okay, we park the AIVs here and do the rest on foot. I can't figure out why he hasn't fired at us already. Where are the missiles? Maybe he doesn't need them? Don't move! Welcome to my continent, Sergeant Starr. My power penguins will escort you to my humble lab. I caution you, the penguins are much more than they seem. How did he know? So we meet again, Sergeant Starr. I must admit, your new name is much more melodramatic, but it won't help. Right now I have you right here where I can see you. No surprises this time. You seem to have it all worked out, Zero. Where have I seen that ring before? Kind of neat how he did the Antarctic sky with the almost like a Northern Lights type of feel to it. Pretty cool. Beautiful establishing shot. And check this out. Damn straight I do. Now I can realize my true potential. I will be ruler of the world. With you gone, it'll be a snap, as he's sitting at the Acme missile launcher. Aren't you forgetting something? The Kremlin and the White House aren't going to care for your little scheme. I'm going to vaporize them. Oh, then never mind. Perhaps then you'd be interested in knowing I figured out your diabolical evil charade. Huh? That's right. You didn't fool me. I knew all along. What the heck are you talking about? You're stalling for time, Sergeant Starr. You don't know diddly squat. Oh, well, you'll think differently when those Starr troop carriers get here. Looks like the other agent's not too excited. BS, I know Starr isn't sending troops. I'm launching my missiles immediately. If you knew they were coming. Buzz up. What the hell are you talking about? I knew all along that Margaret Freeze was your inside man. When I saw your ring, I was sure of it. Penguin does a double take. That stupid wore my ring? You got it, Zero, old pal. And through a complex series of signals I made with my tie, I was able to alert Lieutenant Fargon without Ms. Freeze knowing it. Stupid what? By now, Fargon has persuaded her to tell him your radar frequency, and Lieutenant Fargon is here with the troops without you knowing. Boom, shutter. Huh? Touche. Bombs. I'm just glad you told me that, stupid Starr. Now I'll just launch a bit ahead of schedule. Power penguins, kill them. Too late, Zero. She's still back on the name. With the push of this button, 7 world capitals will perish. Goodbye, Columbus, Albany, and Boise. Columbus? Wait a minute now. Huh? You male chauvinist pig, I'm sick and tired of the labels you put on women. Where are my penguins? Women are people too. Think of that as you drop off to Sleepy By Land. Here, penguins, penguins, penguins. Good night. She punches right literally through his skull. Oof. What did I say? He launched the missiles. Not to worry. Not to worry? You're going to disarm 7 missiles in 10 seconds? No, I'm going to have a glass of water. So he has his glass of water, splashes it on the control panel, sparks out. You shorted out the master computer and saved the world with a glass of water? All in a day's work. Now let's get Zero and get out of here before the whole place goes up. Okay, where are my power penguins? Clock, why did you do that? He moved. There's Lieutenant Fargon. Hey, Ben, you missed all the action. Where have you been? Feeding power penguins? What do you think? The end. The penguins are saying, no chips. Pretty cool. It's a 19-page story. Yeah, 19-page story. Great looking art. Nice pacing. Good stuff. And then, of course, in the end, he has the UFO checklist. Actually, he even has my old heroic in there, and a future fanzine, which we did in the past. We've got some other stuff in here that I'll probably end up pulling out and taking a look with you folks. But then he also talks about from Rocket Graphics. He also did a book. Jim Pack did one called The Comic Book Newsletter, which we talked about, but also Comet Tales, which was more of an anthology book. So pretty cool. First printing, November 87. Orbit, #1. Jim Pack, one of the legends of the small press comic and fanzine scene, especially back in the 80s. But I'm sure he went much farther than that. So it was really fun to read that with you. Thank you so much for watching. I think I've got one other little thing I'm going to mention, but let's call it at this for now, and we'll take a look at something else just on the flip side. Hey everybody, we are back. I have an interesting little bit that I want to share with you. I'm not exactly sure what to call these. Are they classic zines? Are they new releases? I'm not really sure. So we're going to put it in classic zines and just kind of play with it from there. This is a zine. There are actually 15 issues in print. I was only able to get some of them from a zine out of, I believe, the Pacific Northwest called The Nib. It is an anthology zine. You can see we had discussions of death and family and empire, power, pandemic, cities, work in the future. It's a fantastic thing. I really have been enjoying reading them. I'm not done with them yet. But The Nib is no more. And so the reason I am sharing all of this with you is to alert you to the fact that The Nib is no more. And that these books, which had a cover price of $14.95, most all of them are available at their website on clearance for $5 a piece. And if that's not enough reason to do some exploration, I don't know what is. So I'm going to just open up one of them. Let's get a middle issue I have not read. We'll do Power. Okay. this is a glorious looking zine. Professionally printed, great paper, great layout, great color. This gentleman, Matt Bors, who I don't know, I don't know anything about the nib, did wonderful stuff. They always do a lot of stuff with some stats. And they have kind of a sequence where they'll start with what they call, I believe it's dispatches, which are like 2-page strips, all related to the theme, in this case, power. They start with that. Tons of variety in the cartooning. This is American. Then you can see we've got some pinups, and then he's got the response. And these are features in every issue. Each issue we ask 4 cartoonists 1 question. For this response, we wanted to know, and the question is, one of you felt the most powerless. So this is the first response. Then we have the Nib Bureau of Statistics. Statistics about what powers the world, pandemic priorities. Then we have the Nib Interview. Then you have, these are actually classic cartoons related, they call it the archive, classic cartoons related to the theme. So there's former President Teddy Roosevelt in a cartoon about him assuming power. We've got some older stuff here as well. Philadelphia Evening Ledger. I mean, just all sorts of good stuff. Then you can see we've got some more. It's a very liberal book. I mean, comes out of Pacific Northwest. I'm not surprised. Features. So then we've got some longer form features. Some ads. Pecking order. Nate Powell. I think we've heard of Nate Powell before. Invulnerable, another feature. This one I believe is about COVID. Organizing and unions, in this case. Being powerless. It looks like we're talking about the electrical grid. Blackouts, PG&E. Oh, that was fun. Then some strips, 1-pagers. Oh, I guess a 2-pager in that case. Letters to the editor. I love this. The way they do the letters to the editor is they ask the Nibs Inkwell members what gives them power, and then somebody draws up the answers. Funny ad. Illustration by Tom Scioli. Huh. The Inkwell Hall of Fame. These were some supporters, I guess. But yeah, so that's that one. Let's pull out another just for giggles. Here's work. Same basic format. Your dispatches in the beginning. Your responses, your pinups, your stats. I mean, this is a really well thought out zine. It just is really, really sharp. So anyway, for $5 a piece, for most of these, I think 1 or 2 was maybe $10. This is just incredible. And so I really can't recommend these enough. And I wanted to make sure that you folks all had a chance to get your hands on them before they totally sold out. So I am going to strongly recommend, if you are into it, this is probably, from my perspective, the apex that I have seen of a truly American anthology. American comics are a little different than the rest of the world. We love to ground our comics, it seems, often in reality. We've got some issues that we want to talk about as a society, and we use comics to do it. There's no better example of doing so than this. So check it out, The Nib. Information will be in the show notes. I hope it's helpful to somebody. It's really quite good. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Have a great week, and I will catch you next time.